Okay. Hmm. How's it going, everybody? My name is still, of course. It's yeah, I know. I'm 2 days late on this upload. And pretty decent reason, I'd say. Um, was supposed to be on Tuesday. I got called into work, and yesterday, for anybody who's unfamiliar with the whole Charlie Kirk situation, go ahead, pause the video, go look that up real quick, and you'll get the context, because I'm not going to be getting into the details of it. I spoke briefly during the live stream Sunday about how I do things, and I just wanted to re-emphasize because I didn't do so in the first video I made, and I should have definitely put that in the first video. So, for those of you who missed that video, for the last 18 years, I've been part-time event as a mostly pacifist vigilante hero with 56 individuals dealt with, 28 victims helped, 24 physical altercations. And in those 18 years, I have accumulated a total of 0 casualties, both directly and indirectly, purposely, obviously. So, you could probably already all assume what my take will be on the whole Charlie situation. Bit fucked. We'll get into it during the live stream later tonight. I'll briefly touch on it and talk about it in a bit more detail, so if you're interested, go check out the live stream that I did. If you're watching this in the future, the same day I did this, I'll leave it linked in the description. And, yeah. So, you're getting this video on Thursday. And I'm pushing off the first Vigilante plays to the Friday, because I felt like that was a bit too much. This already was gonna be, let's just say it's a great week to be in this world. Great week. It's, yeah. It fucked. Considering I, just pulled up. Another qualifier I originally was going to make before this video started originally was I do not obviously advocate for people to choose this life if given one. As you'll see by the end of this video, I was given very little of a choice as a kid. So, I don't condone or advocate people who just sign on for the life for no fucking reason other than for shits and gigs. Because it is not to be taken lightly. With that being said, don't really get a segue into starting the whole story. This is supposed to be about the whole how and why, the origin of my story. And, felt a bit weird to not, mention that. And I felt like it needed to be said. So before we jump right into just telling my origin, some context to the story. Brought up in a Christian upbringing, went to a Christian preschool where I learned the stories of Jesus and adopted his pacifism as my own. That's originally where it all comes from. And, yeah. You can pretty much cut to about 3 years later, sorry. During my second grade year, I was severely harassed, bullied. Won't get into the details of every single thing that fucking happened, because I'm not here fucking trauma dump every last detail. But it was essentially just, fucked. From making fun of the sound of my voice to killing things in front of me for the pacifism. Because of that, I ended up getting a bit physical, or at least starting out to get physical, at which point they kind of opened the floodgates for them to full on just let me have it. Which eventually came to a breaking point. The first day I actually really swung back and kind of started down this fucking crazy ass fucking radical ass fucking bullshit ass fucking road I've been down the last 18 fucking years. I don't even remember how I ended up on the ground with this kid on top of me, but there we were. Him having me pinned against the ground, wailing down on me with all his strength. That went on for a good 10 seconds. Till I started to realize I didn't deserve that. But he did. So, mustered up every last bit of strength I could, and it took pretty much all of it to shove him upwards and to get him off me just enough to snake my arms out from underneath him. At which point, I grabbed him by the shirt and I pulled him in as hard as I fucking could. Forehead straight to the chin. And yes, it fucking hurt. And yes, it wasn't exactly the best shot. I ended up closing my eyes last second, so I was partly shooting blind. Okay. At which point, as soon as I felt contact, I let go of his shirt. He went back, grabbing his face. Ah, you fucking psycho! Sorry for the cope laugh. And then, yes, that was the first of many, many times I would be called that the last 18 years. Never was able to keep track of how many. At which point, all I could do was laugh for a second and respond with, psycho? I'm gonna show you a fucking psycho. At which point, got on top of him, started hitting him like he was in me. Then, my ex-teacher, crypt keeper looking ass, homophobe, now decided to get some pep in his step and decide now's a good time to break up the fight. Of course, as soon as the half-gay kid starts winning. And later, when asked about why he would allow that to happen, he responded with, well, maybe they can beat some of that fruitcake out of you. So, I lasted about a little under 2 weeks after that point before the next time those kids fucked with me again. At which point, I witnessed the teacher watching them do it, and I just said, fuck it, turned around, cussed them out. And then the teacher, same teacher, threatened to send me down to the office. So I cussed him out too. Told him to call my parents, I'll be outside. Picked up my bag, dumped everything on my desk into my bag, fucking zipped it up, walked out the door, walked down the hall, saw the nearest the fire exits or whatever, the side fire exit, whatever. And fun fact, previous to this, I'd seen in movies that when you use these doors, there's usually an alarm that goes off. So in my head, I was like going full fuck it. Fucking, hell yeah, I'm gonna be mad rebel and fucking set off the alarm on my way out. And I fucking busted through that bitch so confident, so cocky. And then for like 2-3 seconds, nothing but silence. And I was like, oh. Well, that was anticlimactic. At which point, I said, fuck it. Walked over to the parking lot. Was there for about 15 to 20 minutes before my mom pulled up. Got into the car, told her what happened, told her I wasn't going back. You're gonna have to get me into another school. Which, coincidentally, at the time, my parents happened to have been going through a separation. My dad had just gotten a house right down the street from another school in that same district. So, I said, perfect. I'm gonna go there. And because I refused to go back to that school for the last couple months, I ended up in summer school, which I make a I make a note of, because day one at the new school for summer school, instant improvement, as the first day is when I met who would to this day be my oldest and closest fucking friend. So, right off the rip, instant improvement to my previous situation at the school where I didn't have any friends and just getting the fucking shit beat out of me and bullied out of it. And that helps to add the context of why I, did what I did. Shout out to him, by the way. I know you're going to be watching his video eventually. You know. The rest of that summer was pretty damn good compared to the last, year I'd been putting up with. So we jump a bit far ahead. Not far ahead. About 4.5-ish months. Past that point of me first day summer school. So we're a month and a half into the new school year. New student, getting my leg and my sea legs worked out. And one day, we were all walking in between classes. And I end up turning down a hallway to go to my next class. And probably about 20 yards ahead, not even, I saw these two kids. One, obviously bigger, bully looking type, and one smaller, nerdy looking type, glasses and all. And as I'm walking towards them, I see the bigger looking bully type kid grabbed the nerdy type kid and just grabbed him by the shirt, like lifted him up and like shoved him against the fucking like wall slash lockers. A little bit of a half and half there. um, and something in me just fucking right then and there. And all I could think was, hell nah. And so, mind you, this next part, please forgive me, I was 8.5 and I'd only seen a couple movies with this scenario, so forgive the cliche one-liner in advance. So I walk over there, and the only thing I could think of to say was, hey. And the kid looks at me and drops the nerdy looking kid. And I said, how about you come pick on somebody your own size? At which point, this fucking dipshit started to act like it was a joke, saying, oh, we were just messing around, ain't that right? And nudges the kid, the nerdy kid, in the stomach. And I look to the kid for the response. And he looks at the bully and then looks at me and just goes, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Oh god, no. I didn't mean to laugh there, I'm sorry. But it was like, obviously I was right. The kid looked like he was gonna piss himself when he got shoved up against the fucking wall. I could tell. He was like terrified. And so I look back at the bully and I just said, yeah, that's what I thought. Beat it. And he went, oh, whatever, man. Backed off, ended up walking down the hallway. And as I followed him, watching him walk down the hallway, making sure he wasn't trying to pull a fast one while my back was turned, the kid, nerdy kid, walks up to me, bumps me on the arm. Hey. And I look at him and I go, hey man, you good? And he said, yeah, I think I'm good. I just wanted to thank you for saving me there. And I, at the time, was just used to it all, that I didn't yet get in my head, though I did. In a minute, we'll get to that. But in the moment, I was just, hey man, don't worry about it. I'm fucking used to dealing with people like that. And he said, no, you don't get it. That kid's been fucking with me for like a month now. And nobody has said anything. Not even the teachers have been able to do anything. At which point, I realized he was dealing with a similar situation that what I just came out of. So I gave him the best advice I could at the time, at 8.5 years old. Not even a year into this shit yet. Already given life advice. If somebody who's known me throughout the years, you'll just know, oh yeah, that's 100% true. There's one thing in this story that we know for a fact is true, is that he just generally give decent life advice. Probably something to do with the experience and all. But at the time, I told him, hey man, I literally am new to this school because I got fucked with so much at the last school. Like, honestly, sometimes you just gotta look out for yourself because nobody else is gonna fucking do it. And I told him, Especially when it comes to bullies. Most of them are bitches. They back off right away. Which at the time, I had only technically that one scenario, plus what I've heard in a movie, was my only fucking evidence of that at the time. But now with the experience, obviously, I can safely agree, yes, 8 out of 10 of them walk away after some shit talk. Maybe they shove you, whatever, like, but usually they don't actually swing. They just boast and then they walk away, most times. But obviously then I was just out of my ass. And, he said, really? I thought that was the fucking cutest thing at the time. Really? Because even that, instantly I just said, did you not just see what just happened? And he like looked over to where the kid walked away and went, yeah, I guess so. And looked back to me, and I said, yeah, like I said, dude, most of them are fucking bitches. At which point, the bell for the next class rang. We both said our goodbyes. I don't exactly remember that part of what we said. Just, all right, take care of yourself, whatever. It's probably somewhere along the lines of what I said. And sorry, I don't remember absolutely every detail. I apologize for that. I'm trying here. It's been 18 years, okay? Nearly 20 years, okay? Taking a lot of blows to the head. I'm smoking quite a bit of weed at this point, okay? I'm working with what's left up here. And as I mentioned briefly earlier, I did eventually get in my head about that. Walking away from that situation, it felt good to know something good came out of all of what happened. And the way he thanked me for saving him, almost like I had saved his life, even though at the time I'd realized at most he got punched or something, right? Like he wasn't actually gonna die or something. But the way he thanked me, it just got me in my 8-year-old head. And I said, wait a minute. Thinking in my own head, by the way. Wait a minute. If I saved him, doesn't that technically make me a hero? Like Batman? Or Spider-Man? And you can already start to see where those fucking wheels started to turn. At which point, I hesitated for a moment because I was way too smart for my age, immediately undercutting that thought with, well, minus all the powers, minus all the money. So, more like a broke Batman? And call it the 8-year-old brain or the brain damage or whatever. But something just ding, light bulb in the head. And 8-year-old me just went, hell yeah, bro, Batman. And yes, I'm aware of how fucking cringe that is. Forgive me, I was fucking 8. Okay. But going forward from that moment on, even day one, I knew I couldn't be perfect. I knew I couldn't save everybody. I knew I'd never be Batman or Spider-Man. But that didn't mean I couldn't see how close I could get. And well, the rest is what they say is history. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is how and why I became a child vigilante. And obviously, there's more to the story. That was just year one, and we won't be getting into each individual year. but we'll be going through the rest of my time as a child vigilante through a couple arcs. There's about 2 arcs where it really continues on from here, and we'll get around to those eventually. Probably expect about once a week for the next month, and then 3 or 4 videos, and we'll be about caught up with the storytelling, at least. The broad storytelling, at least. I'm not getting into every detail like I did for this video. This is just, figured because it's the first, the origin. Kind of got to do it a bit more justice, I think. At least in my opinion. I might be a bit biased there. I understand that. Well aware of it. But yeah, with all of that finally being said and done, I just wanted to make a note. I'll be doing a live stream tonight. Like I said, I'll bring up the whole Charlie thing and my full take on that. And after that, we are gonna chill, do some Just Survive, and talk more about that shit on Sunday and next Tuesday. Wanted to add on to that I mentioned once or twice a week I'm going to be doing 3 streams a week: Tuesday, Thursdays, Saturday, and Sundays. Uploads Tuesdays, Thursdays. So yeah, that's the update on that. But yeah, with all that being said and done, I hope you all have a fantastic day or night, whichever it is. And as always, until next time, be safe and be easy.